Hey hi folks, it's Lev. Welcome back to another video. For those of you who are new, I use him pronouns. Sometimes now I film videos and I say intro, sometimes I don't. It depends on what I do. Welcome back to another Lionheart video. Today I wanted to just recap my entire trans journey. So it might be a bit of a long video. Basically a super long story time. So grab your popcorn, grab your drink, find a comfy position. If you prefer to listen to this video instead of just looking at my face, you can do that too. Strap in because it's gonna be a long rewind recap video. Pretty sure it's gonna be long because I tend to ramble on for a while about my entire trans experience from like starting point to now. Let's go. I want to break it down into chapters because that seems like a very logical way to tell this story. So chapter 1 is, wait, what the fuck? I don't think I'm cis. That's the title of this chapter. So this chapter, this whole journey started when I was in my early 20s studying uni. First, I learned about sexuality and then realized I wasn't straight. And then after that was over, like during that time I was researching sexuality and trying to understand my sexuality. I did see some things about trans experiences, like very briefly, like, and I learned that being trans was a thing and that trans people exist basically. But I didn't really give it much, my butt is not comfortable. I moved locations because sitting on that net thing was hurting my butt. Yes, I learned that trans people exist and that trans experiences are indeed a thing. But I didn't give it much thought at the time because I was going through the working out my sexuality and trying to understand my sexuality. The timeline of thinking that I'm a lesbian to, oh wait, shit, I'm actually a trans guy. May or may not be related to by other trans masculine or trans men. Trans masculine people or trans men. Yeah, so I didn't give it much thought. But when it really did hit me that, like when I thought I had understood my sexuality, and I thought the whole LGBT journey was over. Turns out, am I actually recording? Was just checking to make sure the audio is actually recording so I don't have to retell this entire segment. Yes, I thought my LGBTIQ plus journey was over. And then it's like, nope, psych. You thought it was just sexuality? Nope. Now you embark on your gender journey, and I'm like, oh fuck, like I was actually so scared, I was so terrified. It was actually during uni, like subconsciously I knew I was trans and my subconscious mind was telling me, you're trans, you're trans, you're trans. And then consciously my brain was like, I'm not trans, I'm not trans, what are you talking about? I'm not trans. So there was a constant conflict between the two. And I made a short film about this. I'll link it down below if you want to watch it. It's called To Closet or Not to Closet Part 2, an LGBT short film sequel. And that went on and off, back and forth for like years. And this, I think it started in like 2017 or 2017, I think it was 2017 or 2018. Went back and forth, and there were points in my journey where my brain just goes, get on testosterone, and I'm like, why the hell do I go on testosterone? I didn't understand. It was actually my subconscious way of telling me, hey, you're a trans guy, plus you need to go on testosterone to feel more affirmed and more safe and more comfortable in your body. But I didn't know that at the time. I was just like, why are you telling me to go on testosterone? I don't understand. This is the most random thought I've had. Turns out it wasn't very random. Yeah, during that the years of questioning, I didn't come to the conclusion I was a trans guy right away. It was more like, I don't know, maybe I'm non-binary. And then there was a point where there was a brief period of time where I didn't like using she, her pronouns for some reason. because I'm not because it's probably because I'm a trans guy and I don't like using she her pronouns, but I didn't know that at the time. I didn't like using she her pronouns for a few months, but I didn't tell anyone, hey, can you use they them for me instead. I felt more comfortable with they them at the time, not he him. Felt more comfortable with they them pronouns at the time, during those few months, but I didn't tell anyone because that would be outing myself as questioning being cis, and I was terrified. I was utterly terrified. And so I just accepted because she heard, but I was cringing so much inside. And I think I remember doing like, I don't remember when, like during those years of questioning, that I did like a Am I Trans quiz. And when this was like some random one on the internet, by the way, not like going to a professional to get support for like gender dysphoria. This was like some random quiz I found online of like, am I trans? Or am I trans guy, I think. It was like asking questions about living life as the opposite gender to what I am and stuff. At the time I was still living as a woman. Asked question about do I feel comfortable living in the as the opposite gender and like presenting masculine, having short hair and whatnot. I think stuff like that. Not that gender expression defines gender identity, not at all. I forgot exactly what the quiz said, but I was asking stuff about gender expression and like living as a guy for AFAB people who are questioning. AFAB means assigned female birth. And I was so uncomfortable with the idea when I was thinking about like living life as a guy, and I was like, this like very uncomfortable feeling inside of me. It's just like, and it was just like this, like, I don't know, something sinking inside of me. It's just like, no. And I was just like, no. And I was just like, in hindsight, that was utter denial. But at the time, it was sort of my best defense mechanism, being like, no, my conscious brain was like, no. I also didn't connect with trans people at the time, like no trans connections online or in person. The only thing that really sort of helped me that I knew of was because I didn't know about groups or anything at the time. I felt quite isolated in my journey. I only watched a lot of YouTube videos about people assigned female birth who are trans, like either non-binary or trans men. At first, I focused more on like maybe I'm non-binary, and then over time, as I started understanding it more, being like, no, I'm not non-binary. So I watched a lot of videos online on YouTube about trans men and people who assigned female birth who transition to live as guys. And I watched a lot of those videos, like a lot of YouTube videos on those. And then they reached a point, it was like December 2019, that I couldn't deny it anymore. Like subconsciously, my brain had been hassling me for years, telling me that I'm trans, and consciously I'm just being in denial the whole time. And I experienced a lot of medically unexplained symptoms like nausea, headaches, headaches, nausea, chest pain. My entire physical state wasn't okay. Despite going to therapy, despite seeing friends, they're not trans, they're like just my cis het friends, cisgender and straight friends. I exercised, I went outside, I journaled, I meditated, I did all of the things that typically are very stereotypical but helpful in some ways, but not in my case for this specific purpose. Did all that, helped me in the moment and then when I sat alone again, reality hit me and I could no longer escape. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a trans guy. And then I sort of came out to myself in December of 2019, and that is where chapter 2 starts. Let's see if I can sit on the middle. I'm sliding. I'll try and hold it. Chapter 2 is bullshit. I'm trans. What's next? What do I do now? So I came out to myself in December 2019. Came out to one of my close friends in, some of my close friends in, I'm doing this like I'm playing like the floor is lava or something. It's not. I came out to a few of my close friends in January of 2020. And then I started socially transitioning in February of 2020. And it was a haircut. That is how I began my social transition. I had started asking people to call me he, him instead of she, her. That plus my transformative, very life-changing haircut in February 2020, where before I came out, I had very long hair, like long hair. Sometimes I had like super long hair, and that was all trimmed off within a matter of like an hour. My hair back then, when I just cut it short, was not as short as this, like not this short. It still had like hair over here, like a lot more, but it was transformative. And that marked the beginning of my social transition. And that's when Corona hit. That's when everyone went into lockdown. Oh no, yeah, everyone went to lockdown. During the year of COVID lockdowns, I went to gender therapy, and I don't know if gender therapy is a specific term or like the formally recognized term, but I call it gender therapy because it was mental therapy specific to trans experiences. Because at the time of coming out, I hated myself so much. Like I had wished that I'm not trans, because I believed that being trans was wrong and not normal. I believe that being trans was not normal because that's the world I grew up in. I believed that I was a freak. I believed that I was abnormal. I believed that there was something wrong with my head, and that I don't deserve love, and that I deserve all the bad things in life for being trans. And that like, it's like I've been cursed or something for being trans. Very heavy blow in self-esteem. I hated myself so much. And I wished I didn't exist. So I went to gender therapy for that. So basically it was a lot of confronting all of these feelings about my own identity and challenging them. It was not easy to make space for that. It was not easy to challenge it because I believed it for so long that bringing it out into the spotlight and like shooting like arrows at it with counter evidence, being like, there's nothing wrong with you, there's nothing wrong with being trans, and actually learning to not just accept my trans identity without hating myself, like going from I hate myself to neutral, but also going from neutral to being like, I love myself, this is like a part of who I am. It took a lot of work, but that I started that process in, I think, March of 2020. It's like a month after COVID lockdown started here in Melbourne and probably the rest of the world. Went to gender therapy. I also need to mention that when I just came out trans, someone's saying my name. Oh, I thought someone's saying Lev over there, unless the kid's name over there is named Lev. I heard someone say Lev, I'm like, what? When I first came out to myself in December 2019, and other people in December 2020, for the first 8-9 months of living as a trans guy, I kept my dead name. I didn't have a problem with my name. Like my birth name, I still liked, I still kept it. I went with my birth name for 8 months. Until 2 weeks before my birthday in August of 2020. And then my brain was like, I don't like this name anymore, change it. And I'm like, what? change your name, I don't like it. It came from my subconscious mind. And then I'm like, what? I was so confused. I'm like, what? That's so random. It was like two weeks before my birthday in August. And I'm like, what? But nonetheless, my subconscious wasn't wrong. And because it's like, that time, I trusted my gut. I'm like, I don't have to change my name legally, but if you're telling me to change my name and go to buy a different name because you don't like it, I'm gonna listen to you. You don't have to change it legally. So it was like I researched names online, masculine names. They're all very stereotypical. I didn't like any of them, like Michael, Sam, Peter, Jay, I don't know. I couldn't see myself in that. Like I couldn't see myself as a Jake, I couldn't see myself as a Sam, I couldn't see myself as a Michael, all the very stereotypical Western names. And so I remembered a name that I heard from a game I played called The Last of Us Part 2. And there's a character in there that's named Lev. And I'm like, this name is so cool. I can see myself being Lev. And then I went by that name socially. And I also like Levi. I like Lev and Levi. By the way, if you want to call me Lev or Levi, I'm fine with that. Like I like both Lev and Levi, but Lev is my legal name. I'm like, Lev, I like Lev. And I'm like, I also like Levi. And then I'm like, which name do I go with? And then I was just trialing them socially. Like there was no way I was gonna get them legally changed, my name legally changed right off the bat. I'm like, I'm gonna do a trial period. I'm gonna use Lev and I'm gonna use Levi. And then I'll decide which one to change my name to legally once I've felt comfortable. So I went by Lev for like 6-7 months. 6-7 months, and then came around February, March 2021. February, March 2021. I'm like, I've gone by Lev for like over 6 months. I like this name. I'm gonna change my name legally to Lev. And the reason I didn't do Levi legally, despite liking it socially, is because I didn't like the look of Levi on paper with the extra I. I don't like it. Like I didn't like seeing Levi Lu. I like seeing Lev Lu. So I picked Lev Lu. So that's Lev. So I picked Lev. So I changed my name legally in March of 2023. That's when I sent all my documents to the government, essentially, to get a new birth certificate. And I also changed my legally recognized sex. The government recognized, I mean, at the time that I changed my legally recognized sex, there was only like male, female, and like other or something. Or like X, it was X. It was like male, female, or like X. And I'm like, well, male then. And then there's a difference in sex and gender. I'm not gonna get into that now. You can Google it if you want to know more. I changed my legally recognized sex to male, which in the cisgender world equates to man. And I changed my name legally to Lev. I dropped my middle name. I don't have a middle name anymore. I used to have a middle name. I dropped that, and then I got my I changed my name to Lev. Changed my legally recognized sex to male, and then when that came back, I think it was like April 2021. Then went the process of changing all of my documentation and my legal documents. So first thing I updated was my license, and then I got a new passport. Then I had to change all my government documentation and ID. Went to my bank to change my name and ID. Basically, when the new legal stuff, my new legal birth certificate came, I had to change all of my ID. That took a process. Some of it was much more frustrating than others. Some of it was a lot easier than others. And then I changed all of that. That was good. I forgot to mention something about medical transition, so I'm gonna rewind a little bit. Still part of this chapter. I just recorded like a 7-minute segment on like medical transition, and the audio wasn't recording the whole time. So I have to refilm the entire thing, and I get my rope mic still has problems. I don't know. So I want to call this chapter medical transition part 1. And it starts in 2020, where mid 2020, as I was going through gender therapy and unlearning internalized transphobia, and also going through the name change process and trying that, there was another question on my mind is, do I go on testosterone? How do I start going on testosterone if I wanted to? What does the process of going testosterone look like? What effects does testosterone bring besides voice deepening? I literally did not know anything. And that was on my mind a lot. And I don't remember how I got to the GP clinic that I am at. Like, I don't know whether it was recommended or whether I found it on Google or something. I don't remember. But I ended up going to an LGBT like GP clinic, which is like a general practitioner, which is like a doctor for those of you who live overseas, a doctor's clinic. And that's when I started sort of my testosterone journey. It was like, it wasn't like I go into the office, or it wasn't like I go into the doctor's office and then he gives me a script for testosterone and then I get an injection the next day. Definitely nothing like that. It was more like he's trying to get, first he was trying to understand my trans journey and sort of what I hope to achieve with medical transition. And then there was another question that really was big and I really didn't know how to answer at the time is, do I want to freeze my eggs? There's kids talking on my right, so if you hear random background noise, it's not me. It's 2 kids talking. It's, do I want to freeze my eggs? And that was a big question for me because at the time I had not been dated yet. I haven't dated yet, let alone consider freezing eggs for possible kids in future. I didn't know how to answer the question. It was a very heavy question and I took a few months to weigh up, like, do I freeze my eggs and then go on testosterone, or do I just go on testosterone and then deal with the fertility thing later if I want kids down the line? As I was reflecting, I was like, I don't actually know if I want kids, or it's just, I didn't want to, the conclusion I ended up drawing was, no, I do not want to freeze my eggs now because that is more time. That's a whole process. It's expensive. It's more time not being on testosterone. It's more time having to sit with dysphoria and discovering my own body. It's more time being misgendered for my voice. And it's more time neglecting my mental health for something I may or may not even want in future. So I ended up being like, I'm not freezing my eggs. Whatever happens in future happens. I'm going testosterone now because I didn't want to keep neglecting my mental health and keep letting dysphoria sort of overwhelm me all the time and not being able to live my life because I'm so uncomfortable in my own body. And then I started testosterone in January of 2021. Next year in January, I will be 3 years on testosterone. I'll put a little clip here now of me being 20 minutes on testosterone. I documented my testosterone journey.
Hi, my name is Levi. I use him pronouns and I am 20 minutes on testosterone. This is absolutely unreal. Now I've always wondered what the vial looks like. This is the vial. So as you can see, it says, hopefully you can see testosterone. So yeah, the nurse took it out from this thing using a syringe and then jabbed it into me. Cute little souvenir for my very first T-shot.
Times have changed, isn't it? Times have changed. I was so different back then. Also, I didn't have acne back then. When I started testosterone, my face was flawless. Now, my face is just acne-ridden and I have acne scars. I don't know if you can see from this angle, but if you see me in person or look at my face up close, you see acne scars, like marks from acne and cystic acne. The kids are throwing like some frisbee ring thing. Yeah, I started testosterone in January 21. Yes, I was talking about acne, but that's just a side note. When I started testosterone, I made a whole Google Excel sheet. Literally, The sun's gonna set like real soon. It's gonna dark real soon. So I'm just like watching the time. I made a whole Google Excel sheet being like date, voice changes, emotional state, how do I feel, etc, etc, etc. And I did that every day for a few months because I was so intent on documenting everything because I like documenting things. That's why I have this YouTube channel. But also, I was so hyper focused on documenting everything about testosterone at the time. I still have that thing. I haven't looked at it in a while. But eventually, I stopped doing that because it got very tedious. And I'm like, why am I doing this exactly? And I didn't really know. The biggest thing I remember about going testosterone is I wanted my voice to drop like this. Like every day I was like, did my voice drop yet? Is my voice deeper? Is it deeper? Is it deeper? And then when I heard like ever so slightly voice crack, like a few weeks in, I'm like, oh my God, my voice just cracked. Like, oh my God. And I was so excited. And going into testosterone is just like a second puberty for me. That's how I say it. It's like a second puberty. And I don't remember much from my first puberty at all, but I do remember my second puberty, for lack of better words. It was very much preoccupied on voice. The biggest thing was voice and voice dropping. And as my voice started deepening, I'm like, oh my God, this is so deep. Like the voice 2 years ago isn't as deep as it is now. I don't know if my voice will get deeper from here. Maybe in two years time will get deeper. I don't know how testosterone works with voice in terms of the depth of deepness it can go. I think it depends on the person as well, but I don't know for me what it looks like. So, but yeah, I was so preoccupied on voice deepening that it sort of overwhelmed me in a sense because I found it hard to think about other things and do other things in life because I'm just like testosterone changes, let's hyper monitor changes, and I'm just like changes don't happen that quickly. Yeah, that was my testosterone journey, and now it is medical transition part 2. This weather is really getting dark. It's because this is the second video I filmed like in this same area, in the same period, one after the other. I'm calling this next segment Medical Transition Part 2. And you may know what it's about. It's about top surgery. After I got on testosterone, right, I knew after I went on testosterone, I was on it for a while, I knew the next step for me had to be top surgery. And I chose to go on testosterone before top surgery because of the dysphoria and like the voice thing. That was the biggest thing. Plus, I couldn't afford top surgery at the time of starting testosterone. Testosterone is not a prerequisite for top surgery, not that I know of. So you don't have to go on testosterone before going through top surgery. This is sort of my sequence of trans experiences. I knew I wanted to go on top surgery. So when I started working full time, that was where my savings went. I'm like, I'm gonna not spend so much money. I'm going to save up for top surgery because that was my first priority in terms of where my money would go. Top surgery. And when I was working, I'm like, I'm working for top surgery. This is for top surgery. I'm not going to spend too much because I want to save for top surgery. Save for top surgery, save for top surgery. Because I didn't know exactly how much it would cost, but I knew it would be a hefty fee. In total, it was $16,000. And it was out of pocket. It was a hefty fee because I also don't have health insurance. So for me, it was $16,000. Hefty fee. So saving for top surgery. And in September of 2021, that's when COVID lockdowns and stuff still happened. I went to my GP and then he gave me a referral to one of the surgeons, the surgeons who do top surgery here in Melbourne. And then I called up the top surgery clinic place and they're like, the earliest appointment we have is like April 2022. And I'm like, what now? I called them in September 2021 and the earliest availability for just a first meeting with the surgeon is April 2022. And it's because I had a backlog of stuff from because COVID lockdown during 2020 and 2021 really fucked up everything, fucked up the entire planet basically, including top surgery stuff. So the earliest appointment was in April 2022. So I waited like 7-8 months for my first consult with the surgeon. And when April 2022 rolled around, I was so hyped. And my first consult, what did we talk about? Yes, talked about sort of what top surgery involved, and I also had to do something called a WPATH assessment. So the surgeon would not undergo the double top surgery. I don't know how to pronounce double mastectomy. Mastectomy. I don't know how to say that word. He wouldn't perform surgery without a letter from like either a psychiatrist or psychologist for me, top surgery. I know sometimes for bottom surgery, you need a letter from both a psychiatrist and a clinical psychologist. For me, I only needed one. WPATH is the World Professional Association for Trans Health. Basically, I chose to go to a clinical psychologist instead of a psychiatrist because they're more like, I don't know, I just like clinical psychologists better than psychiatrists because psychiatrists are like, they might be overly medically focused and I don't really like that. I went to a clinical psychologist and they did a series of gender assessments with me, like a lot of surveys, understanding my background, supports my trans journey. They also asked about like whether I was like, they also assessed my mental health state and whether I was like psychologically fit to be undergoing the surgery and stuff like that, because the surgery will be a toll and then the recovery will be a toll, and if my mental health is bad then it might just not be great overall. And the report had to be dated within 3 months of the surgery. Yeah, so I did that. I saw this clinical psychologist in like, I don't know, April, March, June of 2022. I think it was like mid-year or something. I think it was like June 2022, June or July, that I booked my top surgery appointment for October 24th, 2022. I booked it a few months in advance. So I had time with my psychologist to sort of finalize the report and date it within 3 months of surgery. So between like, yeah, within 3 months of the surgery. Did that, saved up money, made sure all my supports were in place in terms of logistics and all that. Planned everything with my fam in advance and how recovery is gonna go. Had top surgery in October 24th, 2022. Now I'm 1 year since top surgery, a year and a month since top surgery. Like it was such a long journey, like just top surgery, like it was such a long journey, long time coming. I had chest dysphoria since I was a teenager. I didn't know it was chest dysphoria at the time, but I hated my chest and I'm like, what the hell, I feel weird here, I don't like it, I don't know what's going on. And then once I understood that I'm trans and I'm like, oh, that's chest dysphoria, and you don't like it. You don't like it because it's not you. I don't like it because, and when I say you, I meant me. Like, I don't like it because it's not me. There may be other trans masculine people who don't have chest dysphoria and are completely okay with it. But for me, I hated boobs, I hated breasts. I wanted them gone ASAP. And after I got top surgery and recovered, I could do a lot more things that I couldn't do in the past. And this year itself, so I got top surgery October 24th, 2022, so last year. This year itself hasn't been so much trans focused. It was more like I was diagnosed with autism, so I focused on that. And then other things in my life, but it wasn't so much trans focused. I lived my life as a trans guy, but I didn't experience much dysphoria. I don't experience much dysphoria at all. I live a stealth, as in like people don't know I'm trans unless I tell them. Like if I just walk around in my neighborhood, people think I'm a cisgender man, which is good for me in a way. So my voice is deepened. I'm quite happy with it. If it gets deeper, then I'll be like sick. But if it doesn't get any deeper than this, I'm like, that's okay. I'm really happy with where I am at. I'm really happy with where I'm at with my body. The body changes. I'm being able to build muscle now because of testosterone. I'm really happy with where I'm at with my headspace regarding my trans identity. I accept myself. I love my trans identity. I love being trans. I don't hate myself anymore. I don't beat myself up for being trans. I don't wish that I wasn't trans anymore. Everything's just solidified now. And I'm really happy with where I'm at with my trans journey. And that's where everything's at right now. And I started swimming lessons today. So really big achievement. And now I'm learning how to be comfortable in other ways, such as learning how to be comfortable in water. Yeah. I think this video has definitely gone on for over half an hour, I'm pretty sure. But that's fine. I think that's all for this video. If anyone has any questions or anything you'd like me to elaborate on that might not I might not have elaborated on enough detail about that you might be wondering, feel free to leave them in the comments below or just email me. Although I don't really check my email for my YouTube account, but better to comment and I'll get back to you. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, found it helpful, and I will see you in the next one.